Every summer we're told the same thing: wear sunscreen, every day, SPF 30 minimum, reapply every 2 hours, and most of us do, because we've been told the sun causes cancer, and sunscreen stops that. End of story. But what if the thing we've been slathering on our skin, on our children's skin, for decades, contains chemicals that are absorbed directly into our bloodstream, chemicals that the FDA itself says need more safety testing, chemicals that have been banned in multiple countries and US states? That's not a fringe theory. That's a documented, ongoing scientific debate, and today, we're going to look at both sides of it honestly. Most sunscreens sold in the US and UK fall into one of two categories: mineral sunscreens, which use zinc oxide or titanium dioxide to physically block UV rays, and chemical sunscreens, which use synthetic compounds to absorb UV radiation before it can damage your skin. It's those chemical sunscreens where the questions start. The most widely researched and most controversial ingredient is called oxybenzone, and here's where it gets interesting. In 2020, the FDA published studies showing that after just a single application of chemical sunscreen, 6 active ingredients, including oxybenzone, were absorbed through the skin and detected in the bloodstream at levels that exceeded the FDA's own safety threshold. The FDA was clear: this doesn't mean these ingredients are dangerous, but it does mean they haven't been adequately tested at the levels humans are actually absorbing them. As a result, the FDA has not classified oxybenzone, or 10 other common chemical filters, as generally recognized as safe and effective. Meanwhile, the European Commission independently reviewed oxybenzone and concluded it was not safe at the concentrations used in European sunscreens, and the EU moved to lower the permitted limits. Hawaii and Key West went further, banning oxybenzone entirely from sunscreens sold there, partly for human health reasons, partly because the chemical was found to be bleaching and killing coral reefs. Now, and this is important, not everyone agrees this is cause for alarm. Harvard Health has pointed out that the animal studies linking oxybenzone to harm involved feeding rats the equivalent of what a human would absorb from 277 years of sunscreen use. That's not a realistic human exposure scenario. And the direct evidence of harm in humans, still limited. Researchers at Northeastern University who've studied this extensively say that while oxybenzone has been detected in blood, urine, breast milk, and even amniotic fluid, determining a toxic dose for humans is genuinely difficult, because you can't ethically conduct high-dose testing on people. A 2023 review of 254 studies did find mounting evidence of endocrine-disrupting properties at doses typical of real-world sunscreen use. The concern isn't proven harm, it's uncertainty. And in science, uncertainty about something you're absorbing daily through your skin is worth paying attention to. What about the vitamin D angle? This one is more nuanced than it sounds. Sunscreens are designed to block UVB rays, which are also the rays that trigger vitamin D production in your skin. In laboratory conditions, sunscreen significantly blocks that process. But real-world studies tell a different story. People who wear sunscreen daily generally maintain normal vitamin D levels, likely because no one applies sunscreen perfectly, and outdoor exposure still allows enough UVB through. A 2025 meta-analysis of 22 studies did find a statistically significant but small reduction in vitamin D levels associated with sunscreen use. The clinical significance of a 2 mg drop is debated, but if you're already borderline deficient, which huge numbers of people in the UK and Northern Europe are, even a small reduction matters. So, where does this leave us? The honest answer is, the science here is genuinely unsettled. What we know for certain is that skin cancer is real, UV damage is real, and some form of sun protection is important, especially for extended intense sun exposure. But the specific chemicals used in most mainstream sunscreens, that's where the debate is live. The good news: there are sunscreen ingredients the FDA has confirmed as safe and effective: zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. These are the active ingredients in what are called mineral sunscreens. They sit on top of the skin rather than being absorbed into it. They don't carry the same endocrine disruption concerns, and they're available in almost every pharmacy right now. For your everyday routine, walking to work, sitting near a window, short outdoor time, the risk from incidental sun exposure is genuinely low. and brief unprotected exposure has real benefits, including vitamin D production and mood regulation. For extended sun exposure, beach days, outdoor sports, long periods in direct sunlight, protection matters, but that protection can come from clothing, shade, hats, and timing, not only from a bottle of chemical sunscreen. The bottom line, the sun is not your enemy, neither is sunscreen. But the specific chemicals inside most mainstream chemical sunscreens are now under serious scientific scrutiny, and you have safer alternatives. The best approach isn't fear, it's information, and now you have it. If this made you look at your sunscreen bottle differently, share it with someone who needs to know, and if you want to go deeper, I've got a full video coming on the best and worst skincare ingredients for your health. The good news, there are sunscreen ingredients the FDA has confirmed as safe and effective: zinc oxide and titanium dioxide. Look for zinc oxide and titanium dioxide listed as the active ingredients. These are mineral filters. For extended sun exposure, beach days or sports, protection matters. Use sunscreen and layer with clothing, shade, and timing. Regulators and labs test these filters. The FDA says several chemical filters still lack sufficient safety data for gray status. Recent reviews have found mounting evidence of endocrine-disrupting effects at real-world doses. The issue is uncertainty, not settled harm.
Zinc oxide and titanium dioxide are FDA-confirmed safe and effective mineral filters. They sit on top of the skin and provide reliable protection.
Mineral formulations vary in texture and finish. Pick one you'll use daily so protection becomes a habit. Shade, UPF clothing, hats and timing are effective layers of protection. Use them alongside sunscreen. During extended activity you should reapply sunscreen after heavy sweating or toweling off. Keep a tube handy. For brief everyday exposure, risk is low. Incidental sun helps vitamin D and mood, but carry sunscreen for longer outdoor time. Protect children with mineral sunscreen and sun-safe habits. Regular application, shade and protective clothing.